Welcome back. A few brief reminders while we're waiting for our head coach to come to the podium. If you could just check your cell phone at this time and just make sure that the ringer is turned off. Also, as a reminder, there's no flash photography and no devices can record or stream. So if you need FTP information, please check with Mr. Hammond in the back of the room. Who was that you added? Who is that? Whose phone number is that you added? Oh, I'll add her to mine. Mm-hmm. Hi, Coach. How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
Good. Well, I've just got a few reminders for the media, and then we'll open it right up.
Whatever. Yep, that's great. Graham, how are you? Great.
Thank you for joining us for the press conference for the Stanford women's basketball team. We're joined at the podium by head coach Tara Vanderveer. Just a quick reminder, if you could please raise your hand and identify yourself prior to asking your question, and we will also bring you a microphone as well. We'll open it up with questions for the head coach.
Tara Graham Hayes, ESPNW. With what we've seen over the past month and a half from Smith, just what got her to that kind of production, to be averaging 5.5 points a game for her first year and a half at Stanford, and then all of a sudden averaging almost 15 a game?
You know, I think her freshman year, Alana and I were talking today about her freshman year being a very big adjustment on a lot of fronts. First, you know, they were done school in November, so she had a whole year off of school. So getting back into academics was a challenge for her. You know, being homesick, being away from home, being that far away from home. She actually she was ill, so she wasn't 100% in the fall, and it was a big adjustment for her. And then I think the beginning of this year, she really, you know, just really developed and really put in some extra time, and I think gained her confidence in a couple games. You know, had a couple games where she scored well, and I think her dad is a former basketball player, and her parents have been always really supportive of her, and and talking with her dad, I think we just are on the same page in terms of what we tell her, and I think that's helpful for her. She's just being more aggressive. Hi, Tom, you're back.
I'm back. Can't keep me away. How much value is that earlier victory over Texas at this point in the season? Is it just like ancient history at this point? I mean, obviously, Smith was not what she is now at that point. Their great freshman, Joyner, was not what she is now. So how much value is that?
Well, I think there's value in the fact that you've matched up with them before, so you can look at different matchups and see if you like them or if you don't like them. Obviously, they've improved a lot. They've had a great season, and I think we've improved a lot. And I think it's I call it kind of a heavyweight fight. We know what to expect, and they know what to expect, and we just have to get it done. But I do think it is helpful for us to have played them and to know their style and to have played against their, a lot of their players, obviously.
And Carly Samuelson is she's been a great three-point shooter for years, but her development this year is pretty interesting. She's really become a much more well-rounded player. Can you talk a little bit about her improvement this year?
Well, I think that it's happened on a lot of fronts. First of all, I think as a senior, she just she recognizes what she has to do, and she's really stepped up to be a leader. Number one, she's a great leader of our team, scorer, defender. We really, she's asked to do everything, but her game is anchored by her three-point shot. That's you've got to get out on her, and then she can take her pull-up or she can take it to the rim, and her passing has improved a lot. But she's always been an extremely intelligent player, and now I think in some ways the game slowed down for her even a little bit more. But she is having a great senior year.
Hi, Coach. Rick Cantu, the Austin American-Statesman. You've obviously played in many big gyms, but maybe none bigger than this one. Do you, as a coach, do anything to prepare your team for depth perception and any other things that Rupp Arena may be a challenge for?
Nope. I don't talk about it. We've played really well here. We like this gym.
A follow-up question. You obviously have coached before the advent of three-point and after. When the three-point first started, did you know that it would have as dramatic an impact on the game as it has? And do you think it has had that dramatic of an impact?
I like that question a lot. When we were looking at as the women's basketball committee or whoever was adding that rule, we actually took our team to China the summer before that rule came in, and we played in a game where one player made 10 threes. Now, I'm going to say 20 years ago or even 25 years ago, that seemed outrageous. But now, it's not that outrageous. And that just shows you how far, but for me, I'm like, we're going to take advantage of that three-point line. And in my first year back with the three-point line, there were coaches who did not allow their teams to take threes. So it has come a long way. But I will say that for us, I think the use of the three-point line was one of the main reasons why we won our first national championship. We embraced the three-point line. We didn't have the biggest team, the most physical teams, and we had to be more of a finesse team, a shooting team. And so someone like Jennifer Azzi, Katie Stedding, Sonia Henning, those are players that really took advantage of the three-point line, and I've always liked it. Now the other thing in China, just to let you know this too, is the way they encouraged their shooters to be three-point shooters, they would, at a certain point, and I'm not sure what number it was, but your first three was a three, like as a team, and then when you hit a certain number, you get 4 points or 5 points, so that they would, in their games, scrimmage games or whatever, Chinese games, not FIBA games, but they would do things to really encourage three-point shooting because they felt that was a way they could compete.
Coach Gary Graves from AP. I mean, this is your second year back here in Rupp. Having played on Monday night, if you could talk a little bit about how you all traveled from there to here, and how much of an adjustment time-wise or jet lag-wise do you have to make when you have that kind of short turnaround?
Well, first of all, it's great to be back, and a lot's happened since last year when I was here, and we're really excited to be playing here. Originally, we planned to go after our game on Monday to go back to California, kind of regroup, do your laundry, get organized. Kids would have some finals to take, things like that. But we were also the only one in the pod that had a Monday game. Everyone else played Sunday. So I was already kind of in my mind thinking maybe that was something we should be doing. And once they said our airplane had mechanical problems, I'm not really excited about getting on an airplane with mechanical problems. And once they said it was maybe going to get in by 2, we might get out by 3, I'm like, I think we should just bag that plan A and go with plan B. So we went back to the hotel. There were some people that did go back to Stanford, but the team and myself and most of our staff stayed in Manhattan, Kansas, and they were phenomenal. They did our laundry. They helped us, stay in the hotel and get a bus, and then we were able to get a flight to come out here on Tuesday. And I think that was a really good thing for us. Our team was really tired. We were able to, get a good night's sleep Tuesday night. Monday night, we got a decent night's sleep because you're not traveling. Tuesday night, a very good night's sleep, and then Wednesday night, I feel we're in really great shape. We don't feel rushed. Everything's been great.
As a follow-up, when you kind of look at, you talk about all those circumstances, but when you kind of look at some of those logistics to begin with, was it ever kind of on your mind to maybe do that anyway, maybe just come straight looking at
right.
the pot that you
Well,
made?
I did think about it, and I actually talked with a couple players on the team about it, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit, but we had done that before with a team, and it just felt too long. So I think the fact that we were planning to go back didn't get weight on our mind like, oh, we're going for a long trip. But then when it became, saying the extra days, it worked out great. So I think it just worked out perfectly. We're in great shape. We're very excited to be here, and I think our team is well rested. Most players are finished with their finals. That was another thing, figuring out final exams. So when we got that all worked out, I think when they're done, they'll feel better.
Tara, what stands out to you watching the recent tape of Joyner Holmes compared to who you saw on the court that first week of the season?
Well, she didn't play that much in our first, it was the first game. She's a terrific freshman. Honestly, she's a woman with girls. She is so physically strong, and her rebounding is off the charts. They really rebound well, but she gets on that glass. She's versatile. I saw her, knocking down threes, handling the ball. She's just a terrific player, and I think that Karen and her staff have done a great job with her and their whole team.
Was Monday's game more indicative of how you thought this team could really play in the postseason?
Well, it was sure better than Saturday. We had been off for a while after the Pac-12. I think I'm really excited that we had 7 teams in the tournament. All 7 teams won, and we have 5 teams in the Sweet 16. I think that just really is validation of how strong our conference is. So, when you're playing teams that really know you, and you're playing, it's a brutal schedule. And, like with the West Coast, you're traveling a lot, and you're just, I just think that, the teams know you, and the kids know each other. So it's kind of fun to get out of your league a little bit and play against different teams. So I don't know that was any more indication of how we can play. I think it's good that, I hope we can bring that momentum here, just to continue to play well. I think it's good for our team to, go on the road and maybe not have the comforts of home, but you have to battle and you have to stick together. And I think maybe it brought our team closer. So all those things hopefully will pay off for us when we play tomorrow night.
Coach, you guys play Texas every year. One, how did that all get started? And two, what do you like about the rivalry?
I'm not sure exactly how it got started, but it, we started quite a few years ago. We haven't played every year, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that we like to play places where our kids are from, and Texas is a great recruiting base, and we've had players on our team. Ogomake's are from Texas, so we kind of promise players that we will go back to where they're from, and so playing Texas, and we actually did that with Baylor also for Ogomake's. But they have a great program. They're not in our league, but they're obviously with the Big 12. It's a direct flight from San Jose, and just things that you can. You can get in and out of Austin a lot easier than maybe some of the other Big 12 schools that you have to, make a lot of connections to. So they're a great program, and I think those were pretty much the main reasons.
Any other questions for the head coach?
Great, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Coach. Tony, locker room. Hang on. And the Stanford locker room will be open for 13 more minutes. The student-athlete press conference will begin at approximately 2:25. Bree, okay. The Stanford student athletes have left the locker room and are headed to the press conference, so we'll begin shortly. Thank you for joining us for the press conference for the Stanford women's basketball team. We're joined at the podium by student athletes Erica McCall, Bree Roberson, and Carly Samuelson. Again, if you can please just check your cell phone, make sure the ringer is turned off, no flash photography or devices that can record or stream. If you also raise your hand, we'll bring you a microphone, and please just identify yourself and specifically which question you are directing your question to so that we can make sure the transcript picks that up as well. And we will open it up with questions for the student athletes.
Good afternoon. Tom Fitzgerald, San Francisco Chronicle. Erica, could you tell us what your thoughts are about playing Texas again after beating them back in November? What kind of a game are you expecting from them this time? What are the lessons that you learned from the last time you played them?
First, we're really excited. I mean, Texas is a great team. They've grown a lot. It's been cool to see both of our progress. And so I think it's just going to be a big match. It's going to be very aggressive. It's going to be tough, but I think we can pull it out. Things we learned from the last game. I think our defense. I think we've totally transformed our defense from just playing through the Pac-12. So I think they're going to see a different type of defensive style that they didn't see the last game. So I think it's going to be fun. Did I answer all that was in your question?
Just a reminder, too, there is no recording or live streaming.
How do you think Texas has changed, Erica, since the last time you played them?
I think that they've really grown into their own offense, especially the freshman Jordan Holmes. I mean, I've been seeing her going crazy in games, and her rebounding abilities are absolutely crazy. And of course, Brooke McCarthy, her shot is it's really good. So. I think that's the best way they improve. I think, like Tara said, they just really have grown into their offense. Everyone's getting to know their own role. Same with us, too. And so I think it's going to be exciting.
Rick Cantu, the Austin American Statesman. Carly, number 2 in the country in three-point field goal percentage. But you don't take a lot of threes. You just make what you take. One, what makes you effective at that particular shot? And after you've answered that, why don't you take more?
That's the shot that I practice the most every day. I think either before or after practice, I'm shooting threes off a pass. So that's just the shot that I practice the most. And I think if you practice it the most, it'll be what you're best at. In terms of taking more, I mean, sometimes teams do a good job of finding me. And there's not really a point of like forcing up shots. I mean, you got to take what the team gives you. So I think we have a lot of great shooters on our team, and my teammates find me really well. And I think you have to guard everybody on our team, so it's just take what the defense gives you.
Bree, you're playing in a huge arena here, as you did last year. Was there a problem with depth perception in this place on shooting last year, or that you had to adjust to? I mean, does it help having played here before?
I would say most definitely coming back and being in a familiar environment is always good. And yeah, as far as depth perception, I feel like we all did well last game. But definitely coming back and being familiar with the arena and knowing kind of how the courts are and everything I think that that's good for us.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, then the press conference has been concluded. Thank you very much. We will begin the Texas head coach press conference at approximately 3:45. So, Tony.